Before we get going, this is Brawny book. He might be broke or something. His Buck to the Face series is really kind of funny. It's kind of like In a Minute, but it's not preaching at you. It's like Silver Quill minus any plushy wiggling, so that you won't feel insulted. Please go watch his latest channel and subscribe to man.
Buddy, you're an old man, poor man, pleading with your eyes, gonna make you zombie someday. You got mud on your face, big disgrace. Somebody better put your bag into your place. We will.
So we're back, guys. Brittany will return in response to Lily Peet's recent Tumblr post about her. Again, Peet is naturally permitted a chance to come to this platform and reply, if any of Brittany's statements are obtuse or exaggerated. Again, the thoughts and opinions held by Brittany don't necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of myself or this channel. Some of the things we'll be covering next time include Chambers of My Heart, who somehow came back from the dead twice on YouTube, only to botch her bite at the big time for a third go-around. This one starts off small and gets big. One of the topics I wish to get to, which will be next week, will be Osaka Jack, who, not unlike Lily Peet, took to calling someone he doesn't like as a Nazi despite that person being a minority. And the long-awaited return of Minty Woo, with his flimsy apology of Lightning Bliss turning out to be nothing more than bullshit. And Shelly D saying, well, why would Minty apologize for this? The point is, Sheldon, he did. Minty makes apologies, calls for peace with zero intention of keeping them, and then acts like he's the one being harassed when he starts getting his ass kicked. All this and more next week. Until then, let's return to the shit show, shall we? When Lily Peet doesn't understand, Jane and Joe Average don't speak up for themselves. Analysts think Kichi is a badass because she knows how to tell people to go away, and that's something that neither you nor I can change. How you haven't learned to play this game by now, in this time, is baffling. I keep setting up the chessboard here, and you keep thinking this is checkers.
It's common among first-year philosophy students to debate which player in World War II was worse, Hitler or Stalin. When these debates reach the internet, you're almost certain to find people pulling out a laundry list of Stalin's crimes against humanity and yell, "What about this?" The problem with doing that is that the question is not who was evil, the question is who was more evil. Hitler was objectively worse than Stalin, but that fact did not make Stalin's own actions in the Soviet Union suddenly become justifiable. Stalin had the moral high ground over Hitler, but all that actually meant was that dealing with Stalin had to wait until Hitler had been dealt with.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Which never happened. Are you calling me Stalin? Are you Hitler? I mean, you'd get to be the better dressed one. I am the self-proclaimed shitlord. No one's hid this. The things I needle people for the most of the time is a bunch of bullcrap, and that annoys the hell out of a lot of people. The bullcrap you needle people for are things about your feelings and morality, with you at the center of the diagram. Now, I don't bend to everything that people want, but there are things that people want that can achieve a lot of good, and at the very least, make things easier for people like me and you. If you want to boil down right or wrong to say cool people versus cringy people, well, that's an atheist problem. That somehow I'm trying to get along with the talented class. In fact, I'd say this is Lily Peet's communism showing. He's upset at the bourgeoisie, wants the proletariat, that's the fans here, to rise up and bring us down, rise up and bring the social order down. The problem being is, if you listen to that, innovation would die and the exchange and discussion, see Lily Peet's comment section, would go away as well as the free flow of ideas. If you're asking yourself, FNGR, why should we side with you? It's for this simple reason. Because, unlike Lily Peet, I'm a fan like you. The people I hang out with are people I'm a fan of. I don't spend hours editing podcasts because I'm trying to get to the next person. I'm doing it because I'm trying to make each person shine. If you get everyone over, you have a bigger fandom. The biggest concern I have is, what happens when we can't make the next guy or girl? Someone has to be there to separate the British ninjas from, say, the Razor reviews. I think someone has to be honest and say whether Event Horizon hates my guts or not. On several levels, he's more talented than, say, a Misanthropony in his work. And why you and Lily Peetland will only ever say, he called me a dude. I show respect to artists. I help out friends. And the podcast sometimes is the most exposure some of these content creators can get on EQD.
Fact that many of the people Aguilar attacks have done little more than trivial wrongdoing, while Aguilar engages in long-term sustained harassment. The additional claim with the moral high ground is that it's an argument by assertion. Aguilar loves to claim the moral high ground, but doesn't grasp that merely claiming it doesn't mean you actually—
If I believed in SJWs, I'd probably bust it out here. And people like Lily, if such a thing existed. And if I wanted to give Peet legions and legions of fans. Just like this. They are not out there like that. Talking about being corrected as being harassed. It's why people like Steve Shives over here blocks everyone without any opposing opinion.
Much the same way that claiming to be mature doesn't actually make you mature. In fact, it more often says the opposite. A good rule of thumb is that if someone goes and announces that they've won an internet forum discussion, they probably very much haven't.
Hi, I'm Not Toon Critic. When, if ever, have I ever said I was mature? It's the Brawny fandom. You're the dumbass who went on DA and told me to grow up. I'm sorry, I'd rather not walk around like Dr. Wolf with a stick up my ass. This is the fandom that quite literally grew out of 4chan. If anything, I'm underperforming based on tradition.
The majority of the time, declaring victory is just a spin, a last desperate attempt to trick people into believing you came out on top, provided that they don't actually go and read the discussion in the first place.
Says the person who deletes all the discussions, including the comment chain made on my channel, which, once again, Drake Vagabond memed Lily till she left. I have no doubt Drake, despite being black, will be called a Nazi now because trans trender rights.
First place. When combined with the ability to expel someone from the discussion, Danth's law takes on a more sinister tone, indicating that a group or individual can only defend themselves on their own terms through the medium of extreme deceit. Just because you claim to be something doesn't mean it's true. Fox News likes to claim they're fair and balanced. They are no such thing, and making that claim only draws attention to the fact that they aren't. This goes hand in hand with the other common trick Aguilar likes to pull, and indeed is emblematic of every single internet crybaby in the history of internet crybabies. Aguilar sees something that makes him mad, expresses that anger, and then immediately walks back on it to put up a facade of being amused by everything and does
Doodle, Toones, Mandy Chan, Bayfish, Minty Root, Dr. Wolf, Red Cord are all shit. I don't recall walking any of that back. I never apologized for beating the shit out of Miss Anthropony. In fact, I'm proud of it. I'll go one better with you. Ryan Reynolds Mills, from the commentary community, said what I did wrong in regards to the Miss Anthropony thing. You know what I said? I know. When I hit the Looney Turtle, he brought up how I browbeat the fuck out of him on one of my old videos and never apologized for it. He waited forever, in vain, waiting for an apology. Today, none of the Secret Riff mods want anything to do with him. And while I voted yes to give him another shot, I can think of no one person who's done more damage to Looney's name than me in the first place. I wanted to give him another shot, not because I'm sorry, but because I understand that Looney's capable. When I apologize to Voice of Reason and Toon Critic, this is because in the low averages, I do toss out a sincere apology, like their manhole covers. And I will say it again, I would like to apologize to Toon Critic, Sega Sister, and Voice of Reason.
But if he actually were an amused troll who doesn't care, he wouldn't have made 40 fucking videos that amount to little more than bitching about other people who pissed him off. Often over imaginary and yet still trivial wrongdoing. People this desperately insecure use words like disappointed and amused to describe their reaction to the other person's arguments. I could respond to your immature, petty, insulting kind, but I'm not going to stoop.
Dear Lily, you do understand I'm a former member of the PFC, aka the Pony Fuckcast.
I'm also joined tonight by the world's most lovable cunt, Anthony Aguilar. How you doing? That was quick. He may be fat. Oh, he may be fat, but he sure is happy. And probably smarter than you, Corpulent Brawny.
Applejack is least best horse.
Oh, starting off strong.
The producer / seducer, Fate.
Yes.
Yes. And the dude I have no idea how to introduce, and I probably never will, Licky.
Apples.
Donuts replacement. Knickers.
And special guest.
You're supposed to say.
Donuts.
You're supposed to say.
What?
Hi.
No, say anything. Just go ahead.
Gay? Like gay?
And our gays. And our guest, Jay, some guy I found, Jay Titties Holler.
I am the bottom level and damn proud of it. Also, not responding. When if ever have I not responded to you? I generally respond to everyone at least once. Christ, I responded to Efrion, your main fanboy, and I'm blocked on his channel. And yet he leaves his comments on mine. I wonder where he learned that from.
To your level, they say, which is a good enough sentiment when you just act on it, but extremely douchey and ironic when you actually say it. This is the same gambit that every troll has used, and you'd have to have been born yesterday to buy it. See something, get mad, scream about it, and then when the target bites back at you, immediately put on a smug grin and start trying to paint them as the one getting triggered by it.
Lily Pete wants you to believe that I'm Richard Spencer. Let me goof on this. Jesus, Lily, I guess white supremacists are more accepting than you are. I mean, come on. If it takes blacks and Mexicans, what's the problem?
Psychological projection, wherein you accuse another person of engaging in your behavior. People who deride others for having thin skins always have skins like tissue paper when actually challenged. Of course, one of the things that put Aguilar into my critical lens was that he eventually started turning his deluded and dishonest tantrums in my direction, often tagging me in posts on Tumblr, Deviantart, and YouTube, even if he doesn't actually mention my name within the bulk of the post itself, just to make sure that I saw them, and then proceeded to have a screeching meltdown every time I so much as mentioned his name in any context that was negative.
I find it kind of funny the one time Lily grabbed a clip of me being a rage douche, I was completely monotone. It's not that Lily couldn't have clowned me. She could have easily panned back from my OC. My tone at the time could in fact not have been more neutral. This is raging to Lily. Generally only defends god-awful people in the Brawny community, as you can clearly see by the above example.
Aw, it's the little rage bitch having a tantrum.
I'm starting to wonder if you even play WoW if you think this is raging.
There were several videos that talk about Aguilar's behavior in rather vague terms, from Glass of Water to 2016 3am Ramble series, often remarking briefly on the way he behaves whenever something even remotely newsworthy happens. And of course, Horse Famous, which highlighted his behavior along with the behavior of many other people because Aguilar is not original in this regard. Every time one of these videos went up, within 24 hours there would be some kind of response from Aguilar in a tediously long episode of How Not To Brony, where he and a hug box of people all proceed to stroke a hate boner for me as they make poorly constructed arguments to counter the things I say, call me all the usual names they call everyone else, and just pat each other on the back for showing that evil woman what for.
Hug box hate boner. There's a fair amount of these videos where I'll point out Lily Pete has a point on occasion. I did get the KP video out in 24 hours. Lily Pete's video on KP was complete garbage because Lily wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form, and once again, her sources is someone that she doesn't trust. Here's an idea. Ask who you trust. The people who worked for KP, who hated her, or someone from the outside who didn't. With all due respect, Josh Scorcher and Dr. Wolf don't hate KP because they didn't work for her. And no, not getting someone else to work on their behalf. It doesn't count.
Did exist. However, it's painfully obvious that none of these people would practice this same attitude towards a cis person.
I routinely call Tricky Fox a Nazi because he's German. I'd like to state for the record I have zero proof that Tricky is the least bit racist about anything. I do it to piss him off. Tricky is literally the most cis person I've ever known. Unless we're talking about the editor, aka white privilege himself. Again, this is not to be taken seriously. As for misgendering cis people, I routinely call British Ninja a woman all the time.
It's true. He's even gotten Anthony C. to call me British Brawny. Prick.
Lily, you are not special. Now, as for posting the email after the strike, I see a lot of people do that. The name on the email was the one that Pete's girlfriend, aka his not wife, had on her DA, meaning I assumed it was public knowledge, which you just showed me in your video at 9:26, which I will not be showing here because I'm assuming this is a trap. I didn't edit the drawing if you've watched my videos. If watching my videos proved one thing, I can't edit or draw for shit. As for blaming Lily for Lizzie, I assume you would have preferred to have taken the blame. You know, for your girlfriend. I'll put it this way. If my girlfriend did something related to me, my public response would be, I did it whether I did or didn't. Well, okay, that doesn't include exes. As for the punishment, Lily refers to online. Lily Pete is referred to the strike that Lizzie gave online, the same kind of strike that she chided Sapphire Heartsong for making with no intent of pursuing to court. The difference being is that Sapphire, in her good nature, removed the strike early. Lizzie, and by this I mean Lily, made damn good sure that that strike was up there for the full 10 business days. I assure you, if she had the money, she would have taken me to court. Lily had a blow-up when I went to an artist to get the picture redrawn. That's actually why I was removed from her Discord.
He's arbitrarily decided a bad, accused my relationship of not being real, and repeatedly trash-talked my wife in the process, and has had multiple meltdowns on Twitter where he proceeds to reveal just how much of a red pill-swallowing nutcase he is.
Here's a picture from a comment section from one of Lily Pete's videos. It says, "Bash the Fash." This is an Antifa slogan. You're free to go type "bash the fash" into any search engine and turn on the images, though I'd be concerned about trusting Google. Beyond that, here is Lily Pete's video defending Pinkie Posh, saying that no one knows what she was doing. Hear Pinkie Posh herself, not me, not 8chan, not Kiwi Farms or Horse News or the Republican Party or Donald Trump or whatever boogeyman this week, came out of Pete's imagined marriage's craw.
Was started by Pinkie Posh, a then 17-year-old girl, and that's how the controversy exploded. What happened? Well, right from the word go, it wasn't exactly clear what Pinkie was trying to achieve. Some thought she was trying to have the blog taken down, some thought she was just trying to use the blog as an example of how rape jokes harm people, and even to this day, it's not entirely clear what the purpose of the whole thing was. It's not entirely clear what the purpose of the whole thing was. It's not entirely clear what the purpose of the whole thing was.
Yes, Pete, you're in a real relationship. What you are not in is in a government-sanctioned marriage. If you're LGBT, you should honestly be pissed at Pete right now. Your movement has fought long and hard to get the right to become legally married. And then comes along some joker role-playing and thinks it's the same thing. As for me saying that Minty's friend humored him, I fail to see how this is a red pill. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're looking at my Twitter, I'm sure you'll find something that would have been able to make an argument. But this isn't even a political argument. Hey Minty, in this screenshot, are we slinging shit or debating politics? Because I didn't know that there was a political debate going on right now.
It seems that Aguilar has this seething hatred of Dr. Wolf that even goes beyond his hatred of me. Now, I can understand why people hate me. I frequently tell morons that they're wrong, and the biggest trait of a moron is the inability to handle that. But Dr. Wolf? The man is so passive, so non-confrontational, that I have a hard time finding anyone who actually dislikes him. I don't particularly like Dr. Wolf's content, but that's because he's so passive and refuses to draw a conclusion on anything, which leads to the videos being unsatisfying to watch. I did some digging, and it turns out that the reason some people hate Dr. Wolf is because he doesn't pay the artists who draw for his series. Then I went and spoke to the people who actually did the artwork for his series, and they were fully aware that this was a volunteer job and went ahead with it anyway of their own volition. The one reason Aguilar has for attempting to smear Dr. Wolf's name fell apart the moment I spoke to the people who had been supposedly wronged by him, and they told me that such an idea was completely full of shit.
Except Pete later on goes on to say he asked Dr. Wolf's artists about Dr. Wolf and his payment policy. I talked to Dogi Crimson, Gray Silvermane, and Mim Kage, just to name a few, who said that Pete did no such thing. What Pete means to say by asking artists he talked to his girlfriend, i.e. his not wife. I'll be 100% honest, Pete could have done the legwork here. Pete opted not to, and that's the weird thing here. I've seen in Pete's comment section who I know for a fact would have gave Pete the answers Pete wanted. Even when Pete could have won the argument, Pete didn't bother. And I'm going to prove to you what a petty ass Pete is. Petty ass Pete has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I asked Vector Brawny, who's about as pro Dr. Wolf as you can fucking get. Here is a comment from Vector Brawny published from Pete's channel. Vector said Pete never contacted him. Knowing Pete's mentality, this comment won't be here later. Vector will be probably blocked.
Such an idea was completely full of shit. So just like KP, if there really was a big problem, people wouldn't work with him. But when has the truth ever mattered to Aguilar or any of the shit stains who associate with him? But hold on, Lily, I hear you say. If Aguilar's behavior's been such a problem for so long, then why are you the only one to talk about it? Where's Firebrand? Where's Toon Critic? Where's the rest of them? Well, the answer is, they're right behind him, egging him on. There's something you need to remember about most content creators in the analysis community. They have extreme apathy to anything that doesn't affect them personally. Anything that does affect them, regardless of how trivial, is something they need to campaign against. But the minute it doesn't, it's drama and not worth paying attention to. All the rhetoric about respecting opinions and hypocrisy is little more than a shield for the actual motivation. Not my problem, fuck you. Many of these people are in a prime position to help a lot of other people in the community who are being harassed or bullied, but they don't consider harassment a problem worth dealing with until they think it's happening to them or to a close friend or being done by some—
I could swear I've done this video myself. Oh, that's right, I did. King takes Joker 1 through 3. Josh is not a frontliner typically, as I can vouch for. If you poke someone enough, they do respond. Josh has never asked me to slap the shit out of Lily. When I said I was going to Lily's Discord, Josh was hoping for peace. Now, whether you think I was the right man for that job or not, much like what I'm doing now, I'm the only one doing it. Now, don't get it twisted. Pete has a legit gripe here. Where's Pete's representatives in this disproportionate ass-kicking contest? One, every time I've had a fan of Pete's come to Limbo, they defect and go native. Riley Miller. Even the ones who don't stay. Mad Plushie. Two, in BronyCon 2015 at the airport, on the way there, Toon Critic asked me what I thought about him working with Pete. I said Pete was funny and talented and said yes. that was after everything went sideways between Pete and I. And as for extreme apathy, you have to understand a lot of people everywhere, not just the Brony fandom, bitch about a lot of things. My current girlfriend right now is in the hospital with a hole in her lung. This is not the rest of the world's fault, duty, or responsibility. You, in the audience right now, do not have to feel bad for me or her. As for personal affecting or drama, let me ask you this, Pete. If Josh would have dropped everything he was doing and asked you to drop the Sapphire Heart Song thing, would you have? Yeah, I didn't think so. Honestly, that whole mess of drama amounted to a hill of beans with no long-term lasting consequences. Did Pete change any of Pete's policies on art? I mean, Pete lost patrons, but that was Pete's lack of finesse. Sapphire Heart Song since then has gained followers on DA. I'd say her art's gotten better. That part has little or nothing to do with the drama. I just felt like bringing that up. Pete, if you wanted a spot at the Big Kicks table among your peers, it's open. Even after all this, what pisses you off is that the person who's offering you that spot is me. And this is how it's gonna go down. One day, you'd see me adding Lily Pete to Limbo's Skype room. A call would go up assuming Toon Critic was around. I assumed that he would poke his head in out of curiosity, if nothing else. The call would fill up, and everyone would be told to shut the hell up, or be kicked out. Pete would be given the mic, and one of three things would happen. One, and this will never happen, an apology would come out, and you would likely get one in kind. Two, the much more likely scenario is kind of an apology. Words like childish or unnecessary or perhaps or kinda would be tossed around based on the fact that Pete is charismatic and would likely get over, and everyone would likely be happy even afterwards. Or three, ditch the apologies, tell some jokes, distract people long enough, hey, I'm talented, put up with me. And honestly, that's how I feel about Pete. Pete's funny and talented. Now, if you're watching this right now, why would I even consider this? I mean, you already made your video, and you said yourself that was something you would never do. If you want the analysis community to improve, you're gonna have to come take it away from me. You're one person looking in, and you're the reason that you're only looking in. It makes you come off looking like a snob. As for a lot of people, Pete means Pete. So tell me, Pete, if I gave you $2, would you add Mandy Chan and AJ the Autistic Pony to your Discord chat? So you can appreciate what wonderful people they are every month. Because I'm totally down with that.
Grudge against. Hence why I get the title of polarizing content creator for the horrible crimes I've committed, like telling individual people that they're wrong, or exposing the disgusting bigotry within their ranks, or actively writing off garbage political philosophy as being garbage political philosophy. Many of them were very upset when I insinuated that Brawny Buck was a neo-Nazi because he pushed the idea that being transgender is a mental illness and cited an actual neo-Nazi as proof of this. Of course, I insinuated that he was a neo-Nazi because that's exactly what this kind of belief and behavior displays.
Well, no. That kind of disbelief and behavior might suggest closed-minded bigots. There are some cultures around the world that have xenophobic tendencies. I'll be here all day and night, and if Pete merely said bigot, the problem with that being is a lot more people than you'd expect are bigots. Friends, family members, parents, bosses, co-workers, loved ones. And Pete can tell you, but won't, that you can be around bigots, that you can be friends with bigots, you can work with or under, you can interact, and your life, in fact, will not end. Here is a tweet from Pete, who I will now be calling Jerry, threatening to break his mom's neck. Show of hands of people in the audience who have a mom or dad who've said something racially charged. Good, let's be honest. Now, if you think your parents are Nazis for disagreeing with you and need to be murdered, please get off my channel. So, let me show you something. This is Dogi Crimson. He is transgender and in limbo. He is infinitely more well-liked than Brawny Buck. And it's not that Dogi is trans. It's an aspect of what Dogi is, not everything. I still like Brawny. He's a crotchety old coot who literally could have been an uncle at one of my family reunions. Everyone in this video at BC is not a Nazi for being next to Brawny Buck or myself. Also, if they are, here's Anthony C., the same person that Pete thanks for defending KP. In Lily Peteland, I guess Nazis can love and hate KP. If you can be on both sides with no rhyme or reason, I'd start to wonder about your definitions, friend.
Over Anita Sarkeesian and gathering an audience that didn't so much enjoy his content as they enjoyed anything that lashed out at this one woman the internet has a grudge over for some reason. Of course, the moment Thunderfoot stops reinforcing the opinions of reactionary Sados, that large boost to his audience will immediately vanish because they weren't there for him, they were there to—
I have not, nor will I ever care about Gamergate. That said, Thunderfoot's drop in views is down to 200k, judging by your video. Here is Anita's latest video counts. And still almost 2 to 1 down the line. These are basic numbers. Math, yo.
The likes of Nighteye and Aguilar work on the same concept. Extremely small, insular communities that unite not out of any love for good content, but out of hatred for specific content creators.
While I'm offering you a spot at the big kids table, Lily, there was no such offer to Foxwell. He got into limbo by being grandfathered in via Fallen Wish. He's been removed. Not only from limbo, but the Secret Rift. We had numerous complaints from various sources. He now chills in the commentary community. Because the quality control meter over there allows for people like you, Lily, to become gods. I want to specify, not everyone. There are some super duper neato mosquito people in the CC. People like Youngblood Fantasy 91, Acroloth, Jorm, Master TP10. Last I checked, Cade and Marks doesn't do CC content anymore, but despite that, and despite him being fed up with me, I can't stop feeling sorry for him, and that's not a dig. Ignoring a problem only ever makes it worse.
Because Aguilar is a fucking drama queen, and this is how a drama queen behaves.
If you're waiting for me to tell you the bug spray, top to bottom is a lie. It's not, it's bullshit. Well-constructed bullshit starts with a couple of kernels of truth. The formula can vary, but you want to start to show the audience, hey, at least part of this is true, and then you could start fudging the facts. Sapphire Heartsong is not Sketchy the Changeling, who only ever shows up to talk about himself. And I'm going to clarify that too. Me saying I hate Sketchy doesn't mean that Sketchy is the worst thing ever. As drama goes, 5 out of 10. Now here, let's talk to Brittany. I did promise.
Alright, do you need anything before we set up, or...?
Nope, I'm good.
Alright, this is FNGR. We are reading off Lily Peet's Tumblr posts, and Brittany here is going to reply.
I cannot wait.
If you want some of these, by all means, I believe this is the first one. At the beginning here, Anonymous says, so apparently FNGR has brought in someone who used to know named Brittany. So, his How to Beg for Attention series, who is she? Let's read off Lily's response here first. That would be the person I cut out of my life for unhealthy influences and extremely inconsiderate person. Would you like to respond?
Yeah, because, I mean, at least from my perspective, that's almost true, but she reversed the roles.
There's also the fact that it says, considering she's associating with FNGR, it would appear that I was wrong about her possibly growing up. Fuck, and I can only imagine that what deranged level she's sunk to, that kind of scum that she associates with. Now...
yes.
Yeah, no,
quite the deranged person.
Yeah, no, just reading that off again. Fuck, I can only imagine what deranged levels that she's sunk to. The kind of scum she's associated with. Now, I understand Tuesday is baby eating night, okay? How have you taken to it? Yeah. What would, in your honest opinion, what has been the most deranged thing that you've seen in Limbo? Now, I'll be fair with you. You have gotten, since a lot of the more, pain-in-the-ass people have left, you've gotten a very neutered version of what it used to be, but you've been in there for a while. What do you find truly horrifying?
Just from the lurking, it seems like what the Brawny community used to be before all the drama and the bullshit took it over.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of people talking about anime and shipping each other.
Okay. I blame that no good, no account Buttons. She's a monster. She's the worst one. She's...
Buttons is sweetheart.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being an asshole. I'm gonna yell at for that. I know. It's horrible. She watches all these too. I'm definitely gonna hear about that. Continuing on. Oh well, people spouting bullshit about me is nothing new. Although the sheer effort Aguilar went in order to track down this person down shows how salty he is about bug spray despite his attempts to pretend otherwise. Brittany, did you find me or did I find you?
I definitely found you. You did not track me down, quote-unquote, at all. You weren't even aware of my existence until I commented on one of your videos.
Wunderbar. Now, you're not being paid for anything that you're saying here, correct? There's no incentive.
I fucking wish.
Okay, cool.
You have to Bob, where's mine?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
If she'd have just kept her nose clean and showed that she wasn't still treating people the way she treated me and Blake and, whoever else in her old friend circle, I wouldn't have said a thing.
Now,
I would have just let it go.
Quick question, are any of those people still in your circles that you keep in touch with?
The only person that I'm still in touch with currently is Blake.
The only person you're still in touch with is Blake. Does he wish to speak at some...
Yeah, he actually left a comment on the last Fanon Frenzy video you did where he said he'd be willing to retell his side of the story as well.
Oh, excellent.
But I haven't been in touch with him in the longest time. I didn't find him again until I found his video on his personal channel after Josh blew up. And I can link you to his YouTube channel.
All right, certainly. There you go, Lily. I will be contacting Blake. A lot of effort here. Really killing myself. With my in between our baby eating rituals on Tuesdays. Bowling night's Wednesday. Nothing interrupts bowling night. She loved talking about. Okay, here we go.
You really stuck your neck out to find me.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to see how much of this I read. I was often trying to talk to her on her personal issues I was having. And she would very frequently change the subject or just flat out go offline. That usually means fuck off, but that's just my opinion. She loved talking about her problems, but was always skittish when I needed someone to listen to me. Aww. Over several months, I grew incredibly short with her about this. Pete's not a midget, is it? I feel like there's a short joke there. Yeah, no, if that would have been Toon, I'd have been all over that like a rat on a Cheeto. And... Gonna hear about that too. And then she did it again when I was talking to her specifically about that problem. She flat out went offline because the conversation was too much for her to handle. Well, Brittany, you've yet to run out of our room in any situation. You've usually hung in there for like at least a good hour. Very patient, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk a whole lot in there yet, but I lurk and I read, so...
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Continuing on. I honestly think that's the most inconsiderate thing to do. Oh, I could do way worse. I would start heckling someone. It's just to go offline when someone needs your help. You know what? I'm going to stop shooting my foot off here. And don't feel like it. I get the connections get lost once in a while. But a consistent, predictable pattern reveals selfishness behind it. Now, is there any truth to that? Was Lily Pete the person you'd look up and going, fuck, this asshole's going to talk to me?
No, not at all. In fact, the going offline sporadically didn't start happening until our friendship started falling apart. Whereas when we were getting along, it was a lot more of a give and take situation. She would talk to me about things that were bothering her, and I'd sit and listen and offer advice and help her through things. I was the one who helped her figure out she was transgender. Claiming that I just would go offline and leave her hanging every time is complete bullshit. I didn't start going offline until she started getting short with me for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Okay.
Because I'd be trying to talk to her about these things, and she'd, have these depressive episodes and whatnot, which... I understand, because I have depression. In fact, I just got out of a rather long depressive episode myself, so I've been there. I'm not going to leave somebody hanging when they're going through that. But she started using it as an excuse to be a complete and total bitch to me, and it started becoming less about trying to talk through these things and make her feel better and figure out a way to bring her out of it, as it was I became her personal punching bag.
Okay, I was specifically trying to talk to her about how I felt that she was being extremely rude to me. Well, considering that's not a hard thing to do, she just up and leaves hoping I'll drop it. So I left a page-long reason you suck speech for her to see that she finally decided to come back and then cut her out of my life. I didn't hear anything from her after that. Would you say that that's true?
Again, yeah, but she completely reversed the roles. I was trying to talk to her about something that she'd been doing that bothered me. She was the one being rude to me, and I was the one who left the page-long reasons why you suck message and cut her out.
There's another...
Which I can prove.
Anonymous says, gee, this escalation is turning into an all-out arms race at this point. I don't have a snarky remark here. I really feel like I should. FNGR does bad things, so you call them out. They get salty on it, and they bring in people to denounce you. Well, Sure. I imagine the next stop is you going to make further videos about the issue and on. No. That is unless you're just tired of the whole thing and choose to ignore it. I feel like this was Peet talking to herself. Anyways, I've held onto it when I could string it into a relevant... I'll hold on to it till I can string it into a relevant piece. I don't consider this an arms race. Oh no, of course not. It's easy for Aguilar to pretend he's doing something effective because he's surrounded by an echo chamber of sycophants who want me to die. But outside of his bubble, he's a complete fucking joke. I don't know, Lily. They were just making fun of my OC in my bubble 5 seconds ago. They were drawing it pink and they were trying to make me look like a fruitcake. Riley, can you concur
Can
this?
confirm.
Yep.
I can concur with that.
Yes, I was getting all kinds of salty and buttered in there. I'm really glad Kichi doesn't watch these anymore. Yeah. Let's see. Pete, there's only, I think, 3 of these left. Pete 5. Holy shit, there's a wall of text. Ugh. Fuck you, Riley, for sending me these. Yeah, Lily, I want you to know this. Riley Miller sends these to me whether I want them or not. I do not stalk or troll your Tumblr. I want the world to know this. I'll be sitting here playing a video game or looking at porn or doing both, you know, just, I'm about to reach Nirvana, and Riley's like, ha, I've got some Lily P posts. I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah, all the points I just made in this long post about who you're talking to, what our potential motivations are, and the relevancy of the information in question are all things an intellectually honest person will consider. That's fascinating. Anyways, and Aguilar's bullshit never affects my bottom line precisely because of this. No amount of bringing on alleged former friends for a spiel. Now, okay, let's pause there for a minute. At the beginning of this, the very first post, Pete acknowledged you were a friend, right?
Yeah, because we were.
Yes.
Whether she wants to admit it now or not.
No, but she literally, in her words, said you guys were friends. And now it's page 4 or 4th post, I don't know, however Riley chopped this up, and is now calling you an alleged friend. Okay.
I mean, the allegedness of that is news to me, because, I mean...
No, I got it. You know, if you need an editor... Lily, you really do. I would probably have, I don't know, Zane proofread your stuff, or one of your friends would be like, hey, there's a glowing inconsistency here. No, if you wanted to say she was, yeah, if you wanted to point out whether Brittany was a great friend or a bad friend, that's fine. That would have been within the narrative. But you acknowledged that she's a friend, and then you tried to say alleged, but after acknowledging her anymore. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, she used to have editors and people she consulted with, but she kind of threw us all out of her life, so...
Yeah, no, we'll get to that in due time. How terrible I am based on hearsay and cherry-picked events is going to work because Josh already tried that, and 2 of those people involved denounced being in the video less than a month later. Okay, I'm not Josh Scorcher. That's fascinating. You can't pull that lie twice. Oh, you'd be surprised. It shows itself to be salty and reactionary reach, and a reactionary reach. Especially so soon after Bug Spray is released. Oh, you mean unlike the KP video where you came in, took a look at it, at what was going on, made up your mind, and then waited a little bit and then tried to respin it with the original idea of what you perceived in the first place. But you know what, another time, we'll probably get to that later in the video. He gets pats on the back from people who already hate me. I mean, I won't deny it. Yeah. Wants more things to add to their imaginary list. Oh. You know what, Lily? You sustain us. You do. You feed us.
And in your defense, I've been commenting on videos and whatnot way before she made Bug Spray.
Yeah.
Like my first comment on this situation was on Josh Scorcher's video.
That's a small number of people, and the bullshit doesn't spread beyond that. I'd say 2,000 views, Lily. Let's say at least 1,000. 1,000 actually isn't a small number. It's fairly relevant considering. He does far more damage to less popular creators who are more influenced by such tiny numbers. That's why Bug Spray even exists. It's not me I'm worried about.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I forgot what the hell we were doing after that. Who Pete was worried about? Who would Pete be worried? AJ the autistic pony that freaking Pete doesn't even talk to, or Mandy-chan, again, a person that Pete doesn't talk to. it's very easy to say you feel bad for somebody and then have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the moment you start to hang out with somebody that someone else called terrible, and then you could be like, it isn't always unbearable, but you can like start to pick up, I see. Okay. And it's those little ticks in the back of your mind where, you'd have composure. The problem with that is I doubt Pete would have the patience to sit through like little nuances like that. Let's go to page 6, second last one. Anonymous said, given all the bullshit that comes from FNGR, how is the rest of the fandom and, banded together to deal with it? Why keep getting called out as being the most negative in the fandom? That's a good point. I'll have to wonder whether Lily Pete is the most negative in the fandom. And other nonsense, while this guy, who actually spews more hateful and damaging rhetoric, gets ignored or praised. I mean, have these people not seen his videos? They're kindred spirits, apathetic and selfish. Harassment is not a big deal to them, but someone acting all authoritarian is. I'm a little confused by that.
See, here's the main difference that I've seen so far between you and Lily.
Yeah.
It's just based on your videos that I've seen so far. You can be a major dick.
Oh, no doubt.
You're self-aware, you're honest, and when you fuck up, you admit it.
Like
Lily is none of those things.
I've had some petty dumb grudges over dumb, stupid things. And keep in mind, that's why there's that picture of me and Vita drinking at BC. That's part of that. We could swing back on what percentile and whose fault is what, but part of that's my fault. I could have probably bent over backwards and, cost myself a bunch of things to appease Vita. And I did to some degree, but let's get away from that for right now. Banded together to deal with it. That part of that reason is that I broke into the fandom by kissing everyone's ass. Do they not understand? Just the podcast is the backbone of the channel. Granted, How Not To Brony has eclipsed that, but the thing that got my foot in the door was sucking up to everybody. The whole apathetic and selfish. I mean, sure, the person who I'm going to throw under the bus for this is Silver Quill never had a problem with anything I was doing until I said Silver Quilted was cringy garbage. I want everyone to know that, no matter how horrible, no matter how shitty of a human being I was, it became too much when I said a cocksock was cringy and fucking embarrassing, and I stand behind it. And Silver was 110% apathetic until then. Let's get to that last page. You could feel uncomfortable about it. No, I understand you. The thoughts and opinions of Anthony Aguilar do not reflect Brittany or Riley Miller over there. Riley's a small guy, Silver. Please don't hate him. Or Brittany. She's probably a cool person too. But yeah. Okay.
I'm not even super familiar with Silver's work or anybody's work other than yours.
He's
a little bit of Josh's and Lily's.
He's very good at being funny and competent and well-rounded, and I had to speak up about him like wagging a plushie up and down because I was like, this is I don't like it. He got really uppity because I did it on Analysis Daily. Now, was that a giant, massive middle finger? Oh yeah, Silver, that was very intentional. I made sure I protected you from my people because I wanted to take the first chunk out of you. I wasn't going to share that with anybody. Ninja wanted a big, fat, wet chunk out of your juicy ass for being a cringe lord, and I said no. Moving along. Wait, is this one already? Oh, here it is. Wait, Brittany's in cahoots with FNGR now. She seems like a nice person. Granted, I only saw a bit of her of the old blog, but still. Then again, I thought Josh was the ideal of what a right-wing person should be. Clearly, I can't read people. That comes from GamerGuy20100. Well, if that's the case, GamerGuy, I want you at my poker table. Let's go to Lily Pete's response here. You're not the only one. It took me 4 years to cut her out of my life. In that time, she managed to do quite a bit of damage. Well, Lily, there's a word for that. If what you're saying is true, you're a sucker. You should have a Mars wrapper wrapped around your neck so people can pick you off right where you are. I don't think Brittany's, a shitty person, but let's say for the sake of mirth that you are. I'll figure it out in months. I don't think you are. I think you're cool. But I don't see how anyone could get taken in for 4 years. Now, this would have been worded as Lily Pete said, she turned into an evil bitch after the first 3, I could buy that, couldn't you? Nobody hangs out with somebody for 4 fucking years, I guess, unless you're dating, And, you had the love goggles on, which...
Well, she did.
Okay.
So...
Yeah. Dope on a rope. Any thoughts, Riley?
Sorry, you kind of glitched out for me. What'd you say?
I said dope on a rope, and then I said, any thoughts, Riley?
No comment.
No comment. Oh, lordy. There's some thoughts in here about if Lily's response is that people are apathetic, unresponsive and unsympathetic to other people's problems. That's people in general. I mean, were you expecting more out of, this fandom? Because your whole promise at the beginning of this was that these people aren't any more exceptional. You're acting like you're shocked, like you didn't even believe your own, hyperbole, or hyperbole, or whatever the hell it's pronounced, of Brawny screaming at me in the fucking comments section, who, by the way, is a minority. Yeah, just felt like rubbing that in there.
I think she expects the community to act like some kind of policeman, like going off against anything that goes wrong when everybody has their own lives to deal with. We can't jump on everything that happens in the community just because you say so. It's just people have their own lives and shit.
That's actually very typical behavior of her. Because early on, I defended the crap out of her. Back when she was still doing rather... Yeah, and this was way back when she was still doing rather vocalized delusion and was pissing off large swaths of the Tumblr crowd for being transphobic and all this other shit, and I defended her. I should not have, but I defended her. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I talked to her about this stuff for hours on end, and I had people and friends and, Annons on Tumblr and whatnot saying that she was a horrible person and all this other stuff, and I didn't need to be around her. I still defended her. It
almost sounds like the narrative you're trying to say is that a lot of anonymous transgender people went on to become the 8chan that hates her. You know what? I'm going to edit that out. You don't
Basically.
Oh, really? Well, I'm leaving that in. You heard her, ladies and gentlemen. She wouldn't let me back up the bus.
What's even more interesting is she didn't start policing her comment section on YouTube until she started getting more hate than she was getting support. She didn't start policing her Tumblr asks for the same reason. She started getting a lot more hate than she was getting support, and then all of a sudden she started messing with the gender identity of her puppet for her videos and started getting a little more support, and then she started policing her comment section even more. And the echo chamber that she's accusing you of having, she has built.
Oh yeah, I banned her Discord. It's a pretty big echo chamber.
The only way you really have an echo chamber is if you hang out with untalented people, or people who are really bitter and angry. And the problem with that is I do hang out with people who've got talent. Freaking, I say this with I'm a little annoyed, but I get it, and I understand that Kichi's moving on and she's doing well, and I'm happy for her. That's cool. But she's a long, long way off from being an echo chamber. Light years. British Ninja is too much of a bootlicker. Oh yeah, no, I'm totally sticking behind that. British Ninja's nose and head is so far up Dr. Wolf's ass, and everybody over there, to ever even dream of really following me or backing me up at this point. I'm trying to think of anybody who I'd consider really rock solid. Deckard Spade is unbelievably angry at me for continuing to cover Bayfish. True or false, Riley? Were you around for any of that?
I was around for a bit of it. I don't know if he's angry with you about it, though.
He's disappointed, as Lily would say, I would say. He's not up in the air like Scooby-Doo after the cartoon biscuit. I could go up and down of, you know what, let's look in that room at people I've pissed off in my echo chamber. How does that sound?
I'd be curious for her to bring up, when you're friends with somebody for as long as we were, where I was anything like this raving crazy bitch that she's trying to paint me as now.
Well, look.
Like, if I did anything to her that was worse than what she did to me and Blake.
It's highly doubtful. I'll put it to you like this. In my video, she didn't have any specific instances where I was fucking with her. Not to say that she couldn't find them. Would have been the easiest. There were so many times where I watched that bug spray where I was like, okay, you could win this argument here. You could have an example. It would take so little effort. You'd have to talk to like so-and-so. Oh wait, you didn't. Just like everything else you do. So let's look down. Aeon, I'm sure I've pissed him off. And why? Oh baby. No. And why I have royally pissed off. That video's still floating around, people. I can prove that one. I know I've pissed the dog shit out of Hino Hai Senshi. Brawny Buck, pissed him off. British Ninja, already covered that. I don't remember who Alex is. Buttons, she's gonna be pissed after this video. I'm just going through limbo, reading off my echo chamber. Cameron, he's Jewish. I'm sure I've said something culturally insensitive. Guarantee it. Countess Rose, she's a fellow changeling. I always talk shit to the other ones, so I'm sure I've pissed her off. Maybe not so much. Treadley, Daydreamer. He's pissed me off. Dogi Crimson, I know that one day where I was having my meltdown, she drew an artwork of freaking Limbo burning down. So yeah, I'm sure I've disappointed Dogi Crimson. Dr. Fowl, won't go into how. That's gonna stay private. Drake Vagabond, he's pissed the shit out of me, but not in a while. Dulcet Tones, he's had his interesting moments. Illicit, nope, I don't think I've angered him. Finn the Pony, it's really hard to piss off Finn. You know what, Lily? Just for you. I will find a way to piss off Finn. Fire Lily, I think we're cool. the comment section, Fire Lily, this is your last chance to do it. Gray Silvermane, I started to threaten him and he sat me the fuck down, oddly enough, a while ago. It was brutal. I got rolled up and hit with the newspaper and I started to be like, I'm sorry, Gray. Hate, I don't know, maybe. I made jokes about something. I made fun of him for being an atheist. So yeah, I'm sure him. Hobbs, positive. Hobbs is too nice of a person that I haven't pissed him off. Too talented, too much of a sweetheart. My shitty self must have pissed off Youngblood Fantasy 91. Irish John, oh yeah. It isn't a day until I angry Irish John. Blue, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to piss off Dulcet. Jessica Pedley, you know what? We won't go into that because it's a touchy subject. Jim Fear, I'd like to believe I haven't pissed off Jim, but again, very possible androgynous garbage, aka Kenny. Well, if you listen to Lily, I am the sworn enemy of the transgender community, so probably. Going by Lily's perspective, Keyframe, again, sweetheart, probably pissed her off. Kikio, who I screw up her name constantly, I'm sure I've angered her. Laura Rose is date 90, so yeah, I've pissed her off. Mannequin is probably annoyed that he redid that song and I couldn't get someone to sing it. So there's someone pissed off. Mimi, I haven't seen Mimi. Have you guys? Riley, you?
Yep.
Midnight Chimes, he's always pissed off. It's gonna be easy. No, yeah, Midnight Chimes English guy. No, he's kind of chill, but he's not what I would call an echo chamber. Anubis, probably. Mimkage, oh yeah, definitely. She's too passionate about stuff. Muffin Butt, I think we're really solid cool. There you go. I will admit, Lily, that Muffin Butt probably is like one of two people who might be in my echo chamber, but she's never around. So I can even defeat that one. Painted Patience, maybe. Okay, we'll go up to 3. Pancake. Pancake's just there. I don't hate her. I don't think Pancake hates me. Pastel Pros. I pissed the dog shit out of Pastel Pros. Quill Stroke. We're not dating anymore, so I'm sure that there must have been something horrible. Riley Miller. Oh yeah, no. Yeah. I'm positive. Yeah. Sam Hotline. I think Sam's his own guy, so I doubt I'd call him Echo Chamber. Manga Common. Yeah. I take little swipes at Common, and he takes little things to nettle and screw with me back. So I think we're still only at like 3 or 4. Sharp Wit started to fuck with me today, asshole. Solar Flare almost hit me in the head with a baseball bat at BC, so I'm gonna resign him from that. Songheart, Andrea, who the fuck is that?
Isn't she dating Val?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think. You know what? We'll put her on the Echo Chamber list just for the hell of it. 5. Spirit Productions. I hope. Oh, that would be so cool if somebody as talented as Spirit Productions was my yes man, but I doubt it. She wouldn't need my assistance. Stardust, no. she came out of nowhere and stole the goddamn bed at BC. Fuck you. Stupid Private. You know what? If Stupid Private, which I don't believe, if he were my yes man, I'd be very lucky and happy, but I doubt it. Don't even know Siri? No, I doubt it. Burning Donut? Absolutely not. Burning, you know what? I don't have the time and place. Scrolling down, Editor, no. Who the fuck is this? Secret Dreamer. Yeah, I every time I see the same name crunch the fuck up in the room, I go like, yeah, no, I don't think Secret. You know what? I'm Secret Dreamer's yes man. Let's go with that. Thought Bubble Brittany, nope. Toon Critic, absolutely not. Tricky Fox, no. Ty and Dega, Ty is a sweetheart to everybody, so no. Wacom Dragon's barely around. Is Muffin in my room twice? Fuck is with that? Cat Star. I haven't seen Cat in a while. Who the hell is Maxwell? And then Sapphire Heartsong, who's definitely her own woman. So yeah, no, I've gone up and down the Echo Chamber, the Hugbox Hate Boner. But you know what? We should change the podcast to that.
just on Lily's behalf, the Hugbox Hate Boner. I appreciate you guys coming in. Sorry for keeping you extra long on that little stupid rant there at the end, which you didn't need to be there for. Brittany, do you have a channel?
I do not.
Okay.
I have no internet presence as of this moment.
Okay, well, if you wanted one.
That may or may not change.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
So, again, what was your friend's name again so I can contact him later?
Blake Diamond.
Blake Diamond.
His YouTube channel is Bombastic Blake Diamond.
Okay, well, we'll look into Bombastic Blake Diamond. I am going to hit stop recording